RuneScape is the only game that like I really feel like I've spent so long playing, and it's like the only one that can keep my interest long term. Like I get so much more burnout on games, um, so much quicker than Scape, and it's the one I always go back to. Like I can't just get away from it, you know?
I totally get what you're saying. I'm the exact same way. I play every single MMO that exists, from Elder Scrolls Online to RuneScape to World of Warcraft to MapleStory. Like literally, if it's an MMO and it's just an eternal grind, I will play it. But all of those games, I can get maybe a month of steady play in them, and then I have to take like a year-long break. But RuneScape pops up, I don't know, 8 or 9 months out of the year probably.
Yeah, no, same. And it's like when I after I started playing, I played all the way through like EOC, and then that's when I
Mhm.
kind of got like burnout and over it, like when they changed everything. And then I quit and I swore it off because like back then even like when I was in like sixth, seventh grade, I was like, this game's just, it's taking over my life. I was all like prescribed like Vyvanse and Adderall, and I just get out of school and like go home and just sit on a laptop, like an old shitty laptop, just clicking away for until I went to bed. And I swore it off after I quit. And then once they redid Old School, I was like, all my friends were getting back on. They're like, "Oh, we're making new accounts," and I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm done. That's it. That's it." And they all were just like, "Come on, we're making accounts." And like, I swore it off. I was like, "I'm not doing it." And then like a year later, I was just hanging out with one of my friends, and I was like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna make an account." And I made an account, and it was like it all came rushing back. I mean, I was hooked immediately again, and um, just started grinding it out and grinding it out. And I think like whenever I quit back in the day, I had like I had like max combats and like maybe like fire making and cooking, like nothing ever crazy, right? But
Mhm.
um, I feel like it was just like I made it my goal. I was like, I'm gonna max this account, and for the longest time, I'm like looking at like Wise Old Man and those things, and it's like you have 400, 500, hours to go, and I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna get it. And slowly but surely, chipping away at it, finally freaking max my account.
Dude, when you told me your playtime, I mean, it's because I'm over here. This is the furthest I've ever gotten into RuneScape. I when I was younger, my highest level was like 83 ish, and that's up to Evolution of Combat. So like, and I thought I was pretty hot shit, honestly. I mean, I felt like I was doing pretty good back then, and now I'm high, like at 109 I think is my combat level, and have done a whole bunch of really hard quests and everything, and have pretty good skills in my opinion, just for how much time, like 500 hours in the game.
Yeah.
And still people online are just calling me a noob all the time, and I just think, damn, dude, like I'm sort of doing, this is such an odd thing to say out loud, but I'm sort of doing this YouTube thing because I'm trying to finance me playing RuneScape to having a
Yeah.
max account.
No, I get it. It's expensive, and like it takes like some sort, like I meet so many people, right? And like RuneScape's got this niche fan base of people that
Yes.
that play it, and then you tend to like judge a little bit when somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I play RuneScape or I do this." And it's
Yep.
like, "Do you play RuneScape or do you play RuneScape?"
Yes.
Because there's two completely
Yes.
different conversations there. And it's a little judgy and maybe a little pretentious, but then you're like, oh yeah, I'm like maxed, and it's just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't know whether to be proud or disgusted. um
Well, even within the comment of do you play RuneScape or do you play RuneScape, there's levels to that too. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but I've been doing a series where I play it the way that a beginner would. So I'm staying free to play until I finish Dragon Slayer, and I'm doing, the quests in every area and grinding my skills through free to play methods the way I would have back when I was a kid. And there are a lot of people playing free to play who have no idea. I mean, dude, I saw a guy who had Halloween event items that was level 18, cutting
ah,
trees, cutting
yeah,
willows.
he logged in on Halloween and hasn't touched his account since, or he still just hasn't figured out what to do yet.
Yes. Yeah, just some kid out there developing the early memories that we developed with the game.
Yeah, which is so cool. Like, and I feel like nowadays, like kids I feel like it's going to be way harder for people to get into RuneScape because of how grindy and time consuming it is. And there's not really that like instant gratification I think that a lot of games give you now. It's like, you jump through, like, even look at how WoW is now. It's like you
Yeah.
jump, you can just buy a freaking max character. And I came back to WoW like years and years later. And I played through it again, and I'm like, because I played like vanilla into like Burning Crusade pretty heavily up to Lich King, and then I quit, and then I
Super
came back
jealous.
years later, and I was like, it doesn't have, it's not as grindy as I remember, and
Not as
trying
hard.
to trying to convince somebody to spend 400 hours clicking on a rock for 99 mining, it's not really that appealing for a lot of people, but.
But I think that over the years, RuneScape will only increase in popularity because people are making those bonds with it still. And as we all know, you never quit RuneScape. You just continue playing it at a later date. And I think
Yeah.
that all those games that give you that instant gratification, and I love those games. I love to play Fortnite with Jacob and Tiff. I think that's an absolute blast. I like to play World of Warcraft. I like to play these other MMOs that are faster paced and you can just, play for 30 hours, then jump into a raid and have some good times. But
Yeah.
like I said, I only care about those games when there's content that I haven't done, and that content is gone in 30 days of me logging back in. Whereas in RuneScape, dude, I have barely done anything in Korinth. I mean, I've done all the quests in Korinth, and I've got all of my, what's it called? Your favor all the way up everywhere. I've gone into the catacombs a little bit, but I haven't spent a ton of time there. And now there's new content out. I haven't ever done Theater of Blood. Like, I mean, there's so much stuff that it's such a long-term goal, and by the time you get there, if you started right now in RuneScape, by the time you get to that goal, the goal will be so much further that you'll still have more stuff to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. It's like, and that's like, I've definitely thought about like, oh man, like I actually, this is like the one thing that I play that I'm like decently, well, and I know my stuff about RuneScape, and
Yeah.
like a lot of people are like, oh, you played it for so long, that's all you do, you must be so good at it, and it's like, no, still, like I'm still terrible, like that's
Yeah.
never changed. I still have an Infernal Cape, which is something I need to do, like.
Bro, you could have a Max
I'll never be
Inferno
on
cape and
top.
you don't. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a freaking cheese cape, dude. Like I can't even wear it. Like I leave the Grand Exchange before I put it on, Like it's like there's like still so much I haven't even done, and I have, over 270 days played on my account. Like there's always just more stuff. I haven't even started the Coliseum. It's like it's literally never ending, and like nobody will ever beat it, right? Like
No.
maxing out the collection log that, takes like 100 years of
Yeah.
efficient clue hunting. Like nobody's gonna beat the game.
And even if they got close, as we said, they'll just move the goalpost again, and then you'll
Yeah.
be chasing that dragon some more. But
Yeah.
and I think there's also a thing that people need to understand about RuneScape that they don't a lot of times, that, and it reminds me a lot of playing music, is that you can do it for a really long time, but there is a feel thing to it that if you don't have that feel, like I'm never going to be settled even if I put 1,000,000 hours into the game.
Yeah.
He's a different kind of creature than I am. Just like seeing someone like Dustin, it's like he's a different kind of creature at music than I am. It doesn't matter how many hours I put in, It's
Yeah.
like a whole different
sure.
thing.
For sure. And like and I don't know, he settled is a freak of nature in his own. And like I never thought I would ever be like so like obsessively watching like Ultimate Iron Man content,
Yeah.
like he did such a good job of all of those videos, and like keeping people entertained through like jumping over a bridge for freaking 3 days, like that guy's crazy. And I really after all this time still feel like I am trash at the game. Like I'm now doing expert raids, doing more stuff like that, like going back through and like learning all the bosses and mechanics and things. And like now I feel like after maxing, that was like my goal for so long. It was always like something to do. Like I always had skills to train, things like that to do. And now I'm like, I can take a break and actually just try to be good at the game now. And I'm just now starting that,
But it's so sick to hear that it just keeps going forever. And not only that, but that that almost like I don't have any reason to feel guilty about sucking at the game, because even people who have played it forever still feel like they suck
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
game.
it doesn't get any better, don't worry, like,
Awesome.
it's still I still feel terrible, like, all the time, like, I still die to dumb shit, like and recently, since maxing, like, it's been harder to keep myself, like, entertained on my main, so I've started to play, like, other accounts and things, which has,
Mhm.
like, been the most refreshing, and I made, like a 1 defense pure, like, a year ago. I had, like, some terrible grinds left on my main, so I was like, "I wanna make another account and, like, make it a little more interesting and not just make, like, a regular main, like, alt." So I started doing the 1 defense pure thing and, like, playing that account, and oh my god, it was so fun. And I started, like, PKing a little bit, like, just, like, bots and stuff, rev caves, black chin bots, things like that, just, like, because 'cause I'm a terrible PKer. But now, recently, I have started an Ultimate Iron Man, and because I think I'm starting to enjoy the punishing game modes a little bit more, just to, like, make it as stupidly hard as possible, and I've quickly realized, like, how inconvenient it is to do anything on those accounts.
Mhm.
It's awful. I mean, I'm, like, barely into this Ultimate Iron Man and already, like, regretting my decision.
I I made an so I got Tiff to start playing, and she gets burned out and takes breaks, but she's cooking. She finished Waterfall Quest on her last stint and has 45, 50 fishing or something, and she's pushing on it. And so during that time, I made an Ultimate Iron Man myself, because I was, you know, I was so into the whole settled tile man thing, and talk about a hard thing to get your friends into. Trying to explain to someone like, no, he can't move off this single tile.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was difficult. But I made an Ultimate Iron Man, and like I found it to be extremely refreshing and really fun, and it made me realize how much of the game that I take for granted, and also how much of the game that is fun that I just skip by having a cash stack. I mean, I'll grind for hours and days for money just so I can not play the game. It's such a bizarre thing, and it's really on this new account. My whole thing is, I mean, I can trade with people, I can do all those things, but I'm not going to use the Grand Exchange. I'm just trying to play the game the way that I would have as a kid. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's like you said, it's refreshing just to show yourself, oh, there is so much about it that I don't know. And I mean, having to look things up for quests that are no requirement quests is embarrassing, but it makes me go, oh, there is so much to know that you cannot hold it all in your brain. It's stuff falls out the other side if you try to.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, I do the same thing on, like, on the Ultimate Iron Man. I'm, like, looking up, obviously there's, like, Quest Helper now, but,
Yeah.
like, looking up guides for basic free to play quests and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I haven't done this in so long. I'm not like a guy that's made like 10,000 accounts. I now have 3. But like, yeah,
Mistland
I just
Mysteries is a bastard's quest, dude.
yeah, I just did that one like 2 days ago. Um yeah, that one's hilarious. But no, I mean it is refreshing, and it's nice to take a break from just the disgusting grinds left to do on my main. And like I feel like once I decided I'm gonna max this account, it was just kind of a beeline straight to the finish line.
Hmm.
And that's all I cared about. Whatever I got to level, however I got to do it as quickly as possible. And I didn't really get to enjoy it as much. But
Yeah.
the other thing that I think is interesting, and I think what even like kept me motivated on it, was like me and then my buddy Andy and Drew, and we had like 4 or 5 friends that all made our accounts at similar times, and it was always like, okay, first to 2K total, and then it was like, who's gonna max first? And we all had this little friendly competition going on between us for literally years. I mean, from the time we like made the till the time, they're still working on it now. Drew's gonna be the second one to finish it, but it was like that was like what kept me motivated. Was like, all right, I gotta be the first of my friends, so all 3 people will care that I won in this. Like, this isn't for anybody else except us 3. I'm gonna spend 200 days of my life to prove a point to 3 of my friends. But
Yeah, dude. My journey is just for me. I have you guys, or I have you, and I have Alex, and I have Seth, and I have friends from high school and middle school who we still talk about it. But I mean, realistically, I play mostly in a bubble, and I'm a pretty big solo gamer in general. But it's just so there is something about playing this game that makes me go, I have to max this account at some point, or else I have failed my
Yeah.
child self in some kind of way.
Yeah, that's how it starts, and then it just becomes an obsession, and it's not something that you can just wake up and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this today, right? Like
No.
you're putting yourself through a years and
Yes.
years and years long commitment to get to the finish line.
Well, and I think that there's a group of people too who. So I see this a lot. I hang out on Reddit a lot, and I see a lot of people who have just started playing the game and they found out about it from content like Settled or Jimmy or someone like that, and they've been playing for a month and they have 300 plus hours in the game already, and they're posting their skills like, are these good for how long I've been playing? And I just think to myself, dude, I played for 5 years and didn't have overhead prayers,
Yeah, literally, dude. That's how I used to play it, man. And I do like it is crazy how like niche RuneScape is for like how many crazy content creators there are that are like doing things
It's the best
with it
game.
and what they're doing. Like it's essentially just turning into like a freaking sandbox,
Mhm.
of like how people decide to play the game and what styles they play with. Like Settled I think is doing a great job of like the and there's a million of the chunk locked accounts, things
Mhm.
like that, like the one inventory slot, the things like that. And it's like even the Iron Man, that was like a
Yeah.
before they even made it an official game mode, it was like people were doing that and they're like, oh, okay, well we can incorporate this. So that became like an official way to play the game because of content creators, which I think is so cool that they actually kind of listen to the players and see what they're doing and kind of you know make adjustments to the game based on that. Like I don't feel like a lot of other games even consider doing things like that.
No, and I've said it before, and I'll say it here again, that it's not just one of the best MMOs. It's not just one of the best games. It might be the best MMO and the best game, full stop, for the kind of creativity that it promotes, the development and the way that things are implemented into the game, the community and the love and support that they have for this game, the way that I feel like, and this might sound insane, but this is the way I feel, that all other gaming is a funnel into RuneScape. That eventually you will play this game and you will understand that it is unlike anything else you have ever touched, and it's this super simple looking point and click game, but it is genius level game development. I mean, it's perfect. The way it keeps you going, the way it addicts you, the way it's extremely fun. When I got my fire cape, I mean, it took me 8 tries or so to get my fire cape, and I felt like I was high for 4 days.
Yeah,
Just
no, that's what it does. I mean, really, I feel like a lot of people get turned off to it early on because the graphics or the click to move or things
Mhm.
like that. But like once you get over the initial like hump, once you start getting into the weeds a bit on it, then it starts making sense, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to log in again. I got to get this level. I got to do this, and they do such a good job of like setting the requirement barriers. It's like, oh, I want to go do this. This would be really great for my account, but to do this, I got to do 10 things first. And then like before you know, you don't even remember why you started working on what you're working on. But like they do such a good job of just kind of keeping you hooked at every different level with 10 tasks you need to do at all times.
my current goal is a quest cape. So,
Yeah,
I
that's a
just
great example.
I have the chart made out of these are the skills that I need at these levels, and then I'm going to start. But then you start going, oh well, to train this skill, it would be better if I had this quest done already, so that I can do that. I mean, chinning at skeletal monkeys is a great example of this thing that everyone just reveres as this super high tier range and defense training method, and in order to get there, you have to do Monkey Madness 2. And Monkey Madness 2 has all these crazy requirements. And then it's like you said, it's this weird, you set a goal and then you just go, oh shit, this is like 5,000 goals, actually. I didn't even know. And, I mean, when I wanted to do Tombs of a Masket, it was such a moment of, oh, I have all these quests I have to do, so I have to get all these skills for it. And it just, it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, no, I mean, they structured it in such a smart way, and it's like you justify it to yourself. You're like, okay, this is going to be 5% better XP or something, so let me spend 20 hours working on it, when it would have just been faster to do it the slower way from the beginning. But you just tell yourself, oh no, this is better, this makes more sense, well, I'm going to have to do it anyway.
Well, we're also trying to justify to ourselves the AFK ability of something, because we know that a grind to 99 is going to take us 30, 40, 50 hours from, of active play. So we have to figure out some kind of way to make that more AFK, so that when we're supposed to be talking to our significant others, we can slyly be on the phone tapping and making sure that we have a 4.5 minute timer built into our brain that's when we need to tap on the phone. Dude, I Nightmare Zone from my phone by mirroring my display.
Did you use the remote desktop?
I did.
That's what I did.
Dude.
That's exactly how I max my combats.
Bro, I can feel 19 minutes. I mean, I can feel 19 minutes now, you know?
I did the same thing. I'd leave, like, go to the gas station or go to the store or something, and be like, oh, got time to check the remote desktop. Okay, drink my absorptions rock cake back down. All right, I'm good to go.
And then you start doing the math in your head of, okay, how would it be better for me to get, what's the orb that you can use to also take your health down quicker?
The locator orb.
Yes. Should I go get that? Or, then you start thinking, okay, should I keep what's the lowest that I should, or highest that I should let my HP go before I start dropping off in the amount of time that I can stay in Nightmare Zone for? And it's nuts, dude. I love it. There's not a single game that I love more than RuneScape, and I want to cover other MMOs, but it's so appropriate that the thing that is keeping me going right now is this game that I've been trying to get everybody I know into for my entire life.
Yeah, no, same. And it's a tough sell for some people, because they look at it and they're like no, I can't.
Jacob ain't playing this game.
Yeah.